Asante Samuel Jr. going to visit 6 teams. It's quite interesting because Brian was just talking to us about expectations for the rest of this season and asked you what your biggest concern is at cornerback or offensive tackle. And I would answer that corner. Even though I don't believe in Steele or Guyton or Nate Thomas that much, at least for this year. But I think corner's massive right now, and so whenever Asante Samuel news comes up, I'm always interested. He's going to go visit 6 teams. You ready for these teams? Panthers, Vikings, Niners, Packers, Bears, Pittsburgh Steelers. No Cowboys in there. Ouch. Little disappointing. Bobby Bell thinks this team's going to go 6-2 at worst down the stretch. If you would go out and get Asante Samuel, I guess I could start to squint and see that a little bit. But if the Joneses are aligned with that line of thinking, then I would believe right now Asante Samuel Jr. might be the final piece that we need to actually forge that into reality. But right now, I don't think the idea has a lot of credibility. I salute Bob for the bit or the shtick. I'm not sure which one of those it is, but it's good radio.
I just feel like, though, Gavin, and people are going to hate me to say this, I think this is a Will McClay thing. And I say this in a way that Will is really, really focused on cornerbacks that have
the length.
And
the height, the long arms.
Yeah, and
for the draft or free agency, I love that. But right now there's only one guy available.
See, and that's when you get into something like that, it's like, and people go, well, hell, all those long, tall corners he's drafted hadn't done worth a damn either.
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah. It's a fair point. But when you get to a point where you get personnel guys, and unfortunately we get dug in. Like we're not going to play. But I'll say this. It's interesting to hear the Packers, because the Packers are a team. We drafted Terrell Buckley in 1992. He was a 5'9" corner and all that. And they've only done it one other time after that. So it's kind of one of those ingrained that, we're not going to play with short corners. We're just not going to do it. And the fact that they're talking about even going after this guy, he's a heck of a player. But the thing about it is, I think that it has more to do with the beliefs that Will has about shorter corners.
And I totally get it when you're on draft night and you're thinking, which one of these corners do we want to take? Take the tall guy. There's less bustability. But once the guy has come to the NFL and proved I can overcome my shortness, I can play at a decent level, and you're at this point in the season where the trade deadline is passed. There's literally no other way you could get a quality corner. Kyrie Elam's not good. Kalen Carson's not good. Deron Bland has, apparently that foot injury has shocked him into being not good. The 1 pick six of the year, that was great, but I think he only got 1 good game for the entire season. So if you are legitimately believing that this team can make the playoffs up there, I salute you for your optimism. But somebody needs to go in and tell one of the Jones boys, Jerry or Steven, Will McClay, he works for you. Okay, so let's go get the good corner, and we don't have to commit to him long term. If I think most of these teams would look at it like, if you want a long term deal, it's going to have to be very team friendly. This is a prove it type of deal with incentives.
Yeah, but with all those teams wanting him, do you think he's probably going to get a pretty decent deal? Maybe a couple years.
I don't know, but I'd be hard to imagine.
You named like 6 teams.
It went spinal.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing about it is that, to me, if he's got 6 teams that are willing to work him out and maybe sign him, I think he's going to get some pretty decent money for halfway through the season. And maybe another year, maybe not just a prove-it deal like you're talking about. If he had just one team that was interested, he's going to visit the Packers. Okay, maybe it is that prove-it deal, but the fact he's got, I think, 6 teams interested in him, he might get a little bit more than we think, and maybe a second year out of this thing too.
Yeah, and hey, I would definitely be considerate of that. I don't want to make any long-term commitments to a guy who, had a concerning injury and, has only been in the NFL for 4 years. But 2 of those years with the Chargers were really dang good in 2022 and 23.
He's a good player.
Before with the neck, the neck became a factor there for Asante Samuel. But he's gonna visit 6 teams, not the Cowboys. Chief, would you be in on Asante? Can I recruit you over here to team? Let's go to Jerry and insist on it.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, there's no reason reason to not bring him in and at least check him out. Like, get the medical update on him, see where he's at physically, and see what you can do. And if a team is willing to give him multiple years or whatever, then hey, so be it. We don't have to do that. But he would absolutely be a guy I'd be trying to kick the tires on right now.
And big picture at corner, I don't expect the Cowboys, because of the reasons Brian explained it in this report, he's not on the 6 teams. I imagine the agent is talking to the media and saying, we're a popular guy, and but I think going into next year, I guess Revel could play so well you'd be excited about him, but still you would have just Deron Bland as average corner that you're hoping to get pick 6s out of. You need at least one more corner in the first round? I mean, go spend money in free agency, because you're not going to find a starting corner in the 4th.
No.
That's a wing and a prayer. Okay, what else do we got here?
And you'll see what you have in Savon Revel.
Yeah,
right?
That was the 3rd.
Yeah, and
probably, if he's not hurt, you're not seeing him. He's going to go
probably first round.
Yeah, he's probably going to go first round.
Quinnen Williams asked about Dallas moving on from Micah, and those looking for him to now uplift the Cowboys defense said it's pretty cool. Micah's a phenomenal player. He can do things I can't dream about doing, especially when it comes to rushing the passer. We're totally different players. I'm more interior presence, push, physical, strong, and pass rush from the inside. I'm just here to do my job to the best of my ability and to be a difference maker from an interior standpoint and a defensive line standpoint, the best that I can. I know some people might react to that saying, man, this guy, you got him, and he can't even dream about doing things Micah did, but the style of play is so different. This is a guy that's going to eat up blocks and absolutely demolish the run and give you some pass rush as well at that size. It's unique. You can find edge dudes that can rush the passer. It's hard to find a guy that big who stops the run and can also get after the quarterback a little bit. Plus, he makes almost half of what Micah's cap hit's going to be. So, at least for the next couple of years, it's a tremendous bargain. And like Quinnen Williams plus $20 million of cap space, I think will get you closer to winning than Micah at 45. Would you agree with that?
Well, if they're going to do right by that cap space, right? I mean, do you actually trust at this point? Do you have good reason to trust that the Cowboys are going to do right by that cap space?
I have an inkling that they're about to push all in like they never have. And that's why they wanted to give the 2027 one to the Jets. Because 2026 is going to be 2 first-round picks and a lot of financial commitment. They're going to be looking at back-to-back losing seasons. Dak coming up on 34 years old. I think 2026 could very well be. Now, I can't guarantee it, but that's what my gut's telling me right now, what we're about to get.
Yeah, and I hope you're right about that, and I understand why you would feel that way. And if that's going to be the case, and they go out there and actually take some swings when it comes to free agency, bringing some good players in, then, I think there is a world where you can make that make sense.
Jets GM talking about the trades he made yesterday says he's thrilled with the value they got. You never know how the future is going to unfold, and we always wanted to be in a position to potentially trade these contracts in case that you got into a situation where the value you think is just too good to pass up, and that happened to be the case here. Says Indianapolis kept getting richer and richer with their value, and eventually it was too good to pass up. This is Mogi. He added that talks escalated over the past couple of days. There was nothing specifically about the Cowboys increasing their value, but, I mean, a week ago we were hearing Quinnen could go for a 2, and then it's got to be a 1. I was surprised when it was a 1 and a 2.
Yeah, I think to me that it went from, I remember Gang of 7 was saying initially a 2, and then like 3 other guys got back to me and said, you're going to have a 1. It's going to be a 1. So he did go for a 2 initially, and then but the kicker was the extra 1 there. So
yeah, that's a lot. But I love that the Cowboys are like, screw it, we need to get good.
Yeah,
we can't take a long-term approach and just wait and hope these picks are there. I think this is more urgency than I've seen from the Cowboys in a long, long time.
Well, Jerry talked about it. I mean, he's an older man. I mean, that's the deal. He just doesn't have time. He's running out of campaigns. I mean, we all are.
The other thing he said in that interview that was very interesting is he didn't want to saddle the future of the organization with Micah Parsons' contract.
Sure.
Wasn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Like, we've seen the Lakers sell because they couldn't afford the $400 million Luka Doncic contracts that are coming down.
I think Mark Cuban was the same way.
Yeah.
I think Mark Cuban had to sell because of the Luka, the prospects of having to sign Luka.
I mean, that would be wild, but it might be at this point a decent business decision if you're looking at the amount of cash flow you need to now fund these massive contracts to the point that in the NBA, most every private billionaire or millionaire has sold out now to massive hedge funds and insurance companies, and some of the richest people in America is what it takes to be able to afford these contracts. That would be the surprise, and a surprise that I think a lot of Cowboys fans would celebrate. That might be a 98% participation party.
Oh my gosh,
be a little bit more boring around here, but the business of winning would get significantly better.
I think there's Cowboys alumni from the winning years that would maybe celebrate that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yes, a lot of people would, and I just don't, I like to talk about the business of sports and how the landscape is shifting and how ownership groups are starting to look more and more like giant corporations that own the most appreciated assets in the entire world. But would that apply to the Cowboys? I think it could, because of the opportunity to sell at such a high level. Like the value of these teams has just exploded to get, I don't know, what would he get, $15 or $20 billion?
Yeah.
Can you predict, can you expect that's going to continue to grow at the rate that it has, or is that bubble getting close to bursting a little bit?
What do you think about TV, though, Dawson? You seem to have a really good understanding of stuff like that. Where are we on the TV, the streamings and stuff like that?
Seems healthy.
Are we going to have money for the streaming stuff still? Are we going to have the YouTubes and people like that show up and continue to pay these big bills? Because I was worried about network TV not being able to pay the big bills.
We've seen the regional sports networks kind of fail.
Yeah,
and
we
that
have.
That happened around the Rangers and a lot of baseball teams. Like that model actually went tees up. But I think the NFL is different because they're rolling with the biggest brands and CBS and Fox. And, I guess for the time being, I expect it to continue. The in-demand entertainment has wiped out all sorts of TV content. It really has. Like the Netflix and everything is so much more popular in the TikToks, but live sports is the thing you can't replace. It's still the one thing that's going to gather millions and millions of people.
No question. I find myself watching far more YouTube stuff than I do anything else. Somebody says, "Oh, let's sit down and watch TV," and I'm like, I'd rather watch. I know, like on TV, I have to kind of wait and see, is this something I want to watch? Whereas YouTube, I can go immediately and watch something a cooking program, or I want to watch something, that
cremation program.
Yeah, but that's strange. No,
to your point,
they do that on TikTok. They show you how it's done.
But now they're getting in the YouTubes and the Netflix and the Amazon, so they're getting more competitors to go to roll with the networks, and there doesn't really seem to be an end in sight. They just gave a ton of money to Drew Brees to do TV, and the reason they want to give
Sancho's situation there
might be, But they're willing to give these guys like Romo and Brady $20-25 million, even though they're doing a bad job, because that's a marketing asset.
Yeah.
Like, we got Tom Brady.
They're treating these guys kind of like they do the evening news. Remember that for a long time there were all those those evening news guys and gals, $14, $15, $18 million to read the news.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
It really is.
Yeah.
So, I could see it either way, that they could be looking at this asset and going, wow, these contracts are getting too big for us. Yeah. And it's really going to be gymnastics on a family level to come up with the cash to fund all these signing bonuses. And when you do these big contracts, you got to take the entire amount and put it in escrow.
Yeah, that's
and
what
then it pays out from there as, part of the collective bargaining agreement.